Hi, everyone. It's me, Krylios, Team Racing Productions MC and producer. And joining me today is Tamira Benitez. Welcome.
Hey, how's it going?
It is going great. I hear and see that we are live and up and running. So it is great to have you here with us today, Tamira. So I want to start it off with just having you introduce yourself to our audience and letting them know a little bit about what you do.
Absolutely. And thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here with all of you today. My name is Tamira Benitez. She, hers, ella are my pronouns, and I am the Diverse City Fund's first executive director. So thank you so much for having us. I would love to tell you a bit about me, and then I'll tell you so much about Diversity Fund. How's that?
Lovely, lovely. I love that. And please do tell me how you got involved with the Diversity Fund and even in this space in general. And then let us know what Diversity Fund does.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let me tell you a bit about me first. So I was born and raised in El Salvador, came to Washington, D.C. When I was in in junior high, went to Alicedale and Wilson, which is now Jackson Reed Senior High School. I come from a background, my values are collectivism and collaboration, because that is how we survived the war in El Salvador. It was a 12-year-long civil war and the socioeconomic devastation that came after that. So collectivism and collaboration is how we made it through. And when I moved to Washington, D.C., those values of collectivism and collaboration had to remain, because while it wasn't a visual war that was harming and also killing people, it was systemic oppressions that were keeping, I was seeing my family members, my friends, my neighbors being hurt by all of this inequality. So I dedicated my academic and my professional life to getting the tools, getting all the knowledge, to be in partnership with the communities that are harmed by these systems of inequalities, these oppressions. So I've been everything. I've been a community organizer. I've been a program manager. I've worked in the nonprofit field. I've worked in the mayor's office. I've worked in the legislative branch. So I've been all over the place. To do this type of work, to do dismantling of systems and making sure that communities have the resources and the power to decide for how their life should be. I came to DC Fund in 2019 as a grant making team member. So excited to tell you about DC Fund and their structure. But I came to them in 2019, where I came in to review applications from community groups saying, we need to dismantle the systems. We need to change the way things are being done in Washington, D.C. And here is how and why we should do it. And DC Fund, as a fund that it is, as a social justice fund that it is, providing the grant funding to be able to do that type of work, the social justice work that needs to happen, because social justice is not inexpensive. It's pretty expensive, and everything from printing pages to actually paying people to do the type of work that needs to happen in DC takes funds, takes money. Yes. And DC Fund is here for that.
I love that. I love that. Now, when you're thinking about looking at applications and applicants, who are the type of community organizers or organizations or people that DC Fund, is the right fit for when it comes to, wanting to achieve those type of goals that they do? What kind of organizations are you really looking for?
Absolutely. Let me just first say, it doesn't have to be a 501c3, doesn't have to be an organization. It can be a group of neighbors that see a system that is harming their communities and or themselves, like harming them or their communities and other communities. And they say, we need to do something about this. We need to make sure that this changes. So any group in Washington, D.C. That is BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, people of color, LGBTQ+. So anyone under the umbrella of the global majority can apply for funds to do this type of dismantling of systems of oppression type of work, the social justice work that DC Fund funds. So like I said, by people of color or by the global majority for the global majority in Washington, D.C. that is doing social justice work, which for us, our theory of change, social justice work includes, cannot be absent, the system change must be part of that. So I'm happy to dive deeper onto that, but those are the qualifications, or those are the things that we look in applicants.
Yeah, when it comes to really, addressing issues of inequality, in our communities, there, as you said, it's an expensive thing. There is a lot that goes into it, especially when the systems of inequality have been built upon for so long and they've become the status quo. And being able to break those, being able to change how things are, and really moving forward to make sure that those systems are dismantled and something new is put in charge. There has to be funds that go into things like that, and so it's so important that the DC Fund is here to help facilitate that in the District of Columbia.
Absolutely. And let me tell you how DC Fund started, because I think it's really important, and it speaks to us to why 12 years later we still exist, and now we're doing further investment to making sure that we have a bigger capacity to help our communities here in Washington, D.C. So 2011, a group of activists, community leaders, they saw that the dismantling of systems of oppression was not being funded. So doing advocacy, telling elected officials, telling different leaders, different structures of leadership, hey, we need to change this because this system does not work for our community. Those type of projects were not being funded. So they were trying to break away from the traditional philanthropy and move into a process that will center the voices of those most affected by the community, which, as we know, are mainly people from the global majority. So they said, we're going to make this happen. They gathered $43,000. The first round was $43,000 granted out to 23 organizations doing that type of work that I described. And let me just tell you, I am so happy to tell you that to date, DC Fund has distributed over $2.5 million to over 500 projects. So it's a lot of investment that DC Fund has made. And like the part that I am most excited to tell you about is that this type of work has been done by Sweat Equity and Love Equity, the board of instigators that has been behind DC Fund. So the group of individuals that is behind DC Fund, they have been doing this type of work by themselves because they're amazing individuals. They're all over the place in the sense that they are doing so much in the community. But they say we need to fund our communities that are doing this type of systemic change. And like I said, they've been doing this for such a long time. I believe 2019, middle of 2019 is when they first had their first pay stub, and they have had some level of pay stub since then. And me being the first executive director is a huge investment that they're making in Washington, D.C. So it's exciting. I'm here for it. I'm ready for it.
Amazing. That is so great. For any DC residents that they're asking, or they're saying, what are some of the results of this that you have seen so far, and how or communities and our systems, how the work has been going on. Tell me a little bit about some of those success stories that really came from the DC Fund.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to tell you a lot of that. I do want to make sure I tell the viewers that please visit our website, diversityfund.org. You can find a lot of our success stories in there. You can find the grantees that were awarded funds, the last two cycles, and soon you'll be able to see the spring 2022 grant cycle winners. Well, not winners, but awardees, our partners that do this type of work. So what you're seeing in the screen right now is the grant making team, which is part of our structure that decides who they review the applications that come in, and they make the allocations, the funding allocations as to which are the projects that are going to be funded. These amazing individuals that you see on the screen, These are community leaders, these are your neighbors, these are people that are out there doing the work of dismantling systems of oppression. And they do join us as not fully as volunteers, because we have the value that we believe that people should be paid for their services. So they get a stipend.
I agree.
To come in, read through what's coming in and saying like, we absolutely need to support this organizations or these community groups that are doing a lot of work. So what type of organizations funded today this round cycle? There are many movements that were represented in this cycle. There is one, let me see, I got a couple examples for you, because I'm also still making sure that I have all of the information I have for every single one of them. Advocates for Justice, which is a campaign that got launched in 2022. They have been doing the advocacy work to make sure that the Birth to Three legislation that took place in 2018, that it is fully funded. So you may have seen in the news that our early childhood educators, they got a pay bump. They got funding allocated from this budget cycle, from the district budget cycle. That is in big part of the work that Advocates for Justice have done. This round, we gave them a grant because they told us, we have done amazing work in the past two and some years. However, there is a specific project, there's a specific subsection of the work of Birth to Three that is not being funded, and that is the home visits to households with youth. So that, every single aspects of the Birth to Three needs to be funded, and if one is not funded, then the whole program is not as effective as it should be. So they are working to make sure that the funding, the taxes that we pay in here in Washington, D.C., and our elected officials, our decision makers, are making the legislation that needs to take place. They're making the allocations that need to take place so that those programs get fully funded. So that's one example. We also have excluded workers that got funded. We also have the street card on Manning Road that needs to get funding to finally make the investment that needs to happen. And look out for our newsletter. It's going to have a full list of all the projects that got funded. I'm happy to tell you more about them.
Amazing. I love to hear that. I love to hear that. Now, as the fall grant giving process comes up, what kind of advice would you give to prospective applicants?
Absolutely. So it's our grant cycle for fall 2022 is gonna begin at the end of August. We're just finalizing a couple of dates. So I want to make sure that anyone who's interested in applying to our grants, that they are signed up to our newsletter, that they're following us on social media, because that's when we're gonna release the information so that people can do the application process. Advice, I would say, make sure that you're fully reading the application. Make sure that you're looking at our website for the pillars that we found. So for BIPOC in Washington, D.C., social justice. Social justice, it's a huge part of our theory of change, and that's a big component of what we do. I would say also we have info sessions, and I'm going to be going, hopefully I can come back later on. I'm going to be going to different spaces to talk about how to submit a successful application and any questions and concerns that people may have. We're going to have info sessions. Please join those. You'll get the information on the website and the newsletters, and reach out to us, info@diversityfund.org, or our phone number 202-743-0130. If you have any questions or any concerns about how the work that you do aligns with the work that we do, which is social justice work. So like I said, apply. Don't miss out on the opportunity, because the worst that can happen is that we'll tell you no this time, or maybe, and next round cycle, you're going to be successful in applying with us. So please go ahead and apply. Reach out to us if you have any questions or concerns. We're always happy to connect with people.
And speaking of connecting, give everyone the website again, as well as social media and everything else, how they can connect you, because we will have those links in the description below.
Perfect. So our website is diversityfund.org. And I know I have an accent, which I love my accent, but sometimes
we love it. We love it. We love an accent. I'm Jamaican as well, so we love an accent.
Amazing, amazing.
Awesome.
So, and our social media at Diversity Fund DC is what you're usually gonna find. I may be getting that wrong, because actually this week will be my 2-month anniversary in the position. So to say, I'm still memorizing all of the social media that we have.
Well, we will have those links in the description. Tamira, thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you for the work that Diversity Fund does in the, dismantling, facilitating dismantling inequality in our society, and especially in the District of Columbia. It's been such a pleasure to talk with you today. Thank you.
Such a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Awesome. To our viewers, please follow Team Racine Productions at Team Racine on all forms of social media. Click around our YouTube channel and check out our other interviews, vlogs, forums, and more. And while you're at it, make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. But most of all, thank you for watching. Bye, everyone.